Alina Brooks thought she was logging into a job interview until a stranger named Nathan opened the door to something deeper. But when secrets surface, will one wrong click rewrite both their destinies? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. The alarm clock buzzed for the third time that morning. Alina Brooks groaned and finally reached over to silence it. Another day, another job application, another potential rejection. At 26, this wasn't where she had imagined her life would be. "Good morning, sunshine," her roommate Trisha called from the kitchen. "Coffee's ready." Alina shuffled out of her small bedroom in their shared apartment. "Thanks, I need it today." Trisha looked up from her phone. "Big interview, right? The publishing company." "Everett Literary Group," Alina confirmed, pouring herself a cup. "It's just an entry-level position, but at least it's in the field I want." "Better. Then the grocery store," Trisha said, then winced. "Sorry, that came out wrong." Alina waved it off. "No, you're right. I've spent 4 years scanning groceries while trying to make my English degree mean something." She took a sip of coffee. "This internship at the magazine is great experience, but they can't afford to pay me. I need something real." Rain pattered against the windows as Alina prepared for her interview. She laid out her only professional outfit, a navy blue blazer, white blouse, and matching skirt, and practiced her answers in the mirror. "Why do I want to work at Everett Literary? Because I believe books change lives. Because I've dreamed of being part of the publishing world since I was 12. She sighed at her reflection. "And because I'm tired of choosing between paying rent and buying groceries." By 2 o'clock, Alina sat at her small desk, computer open, and notes spread before her. The virtual interview was scheduled for 2:30, but she'd heard that being early showed initiative. Her stomach twisted with nerves as she clicked the link in the email. The screen loaded, showing a waiting for host message. Alina checked her appearance one last time in her camera preview, smoothing her hair and straightening her collar. After a few minutes, the screen changed. A man appeared, his background plain and minimal, just a bookshelf visible in the corner. He had sandy brown hair that looked slightly disheveled, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, and a gentle expression that immediately put Alina at ease. "You're early," he said with a soft smile. Alina felt her cheeks warm. "Yes, I wanted to make a good impression." The man nodded. "That's refreshing. Most people barely make it on time." There was something in his voice, a weariness, a kind of quiet loneliness that surprised her. "I'm Alina Brooks," she said, then immediately felt foolish. Of course he knew who she was. "Nice to meet you, Alina. I'm Nathan." She waited for him to introduce himself further, to mention his position at the company, but he didn't. Instead, he asked, "How are you doing today, really?" The question caught her off guard. Well, honestly, I'm nervous. This means a lot to me." Nathan smiled. "No need to be nervous. This isn't what you think it is." Alina blinked. "Excuse me? Tell me something, Alina. What brings you here?" Not the practiced answer, but the real one. She shuffled her notes, confused. This wasn't following any interview format she'd prepared for. "Well, I've always loved books. I majored in English literature, hoping to work in publishing someday." And what? There's more to it than that. I can tell." Alina hesitated. This was strange, but something about Nathan's gentle gaze made her continue. "And I'm tired of working jobs that don't fulfill me, tired of rejection letters, tired of watching my college friends move forward while I'm still trying to get my foot in the door." As she spoke, she noticed there were no questions about her resume, her experience, her qualifications, just conversation, real honest conversation. "I understand that feeling," Nathan said quietly. "The world doesn't always make room for us when and how we expect it to." Alina looked more closely at her screen. There was no company logo in the background, no other participants joining, just this man speaking to her like they were old friends. "I'm sorry," she said, feeling her face flush with embarrassment. "I think I might have clicked the wrong link. This isn't the Everett Literary Group interview, is it?" Nathan's expression shifted. Fair flicker of something, surprise, interest, crossing his face. "No," he admitted. "It's not." Alina covered her face with her hands. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I must have mixed up the links." She peeked through her fingers. What is this meeting? Nathan hesitated. It's a support group of sorts. A support group? And I just barged in talking about job interviews. Alina groaned. I should go. I'm so sorry for interrupting. But Nathan didn't end the call. Instead, he leaned forward slightly. Maybe you were supposed to end up here. Alina lowered, her hands surprised. What do you mean? Sometimes the universe has different plans than we do. His smile was gentle. The others aren't joining today anyway. It's just me. Alina should have left, should have apologized again and hung up. But something in Nathan's voice, in the quiet way he spoke, made her stay. What kind of support group is it? She asked. It's for people who've experienced loss, he said after a moment. People trying to find their way forward. Oh, Alina said softly. I'm sorry. Don't be. We all have our burdens to carry. They sat in silence for a moment, and strangely it wasn't uncomfortable. Your interview, Nathan finally said. When is it actually scheduled for? Alina checked her email quickly. It's tomorrow. Same time. I got the days mixed up. Nathan smiled. Well, now you've had a practice run of sorts. Some practice, Alina laughed. Crashing a stranger's support group meeting. You seem like someone who adapts well to unexpected situations. I've had plenty of practice with that too. They fell into conversation easily after that. Alina told him about her job at the grocery store, her unpaid internship at a small literary magazine, her stack of rejection letters. Nathan listened, really listened, in a way people rarely did. What about you? She asked eventually. What do you do? A shadow crossed his face. I work with books too, actually. Really? Are you a writer? No, he said. Just someone who believes in their power like you do. Before she knew it, an hour had passed. Alina realized with a start that she needed to get to her shift at the grocery store. I should go, she said reluctantly. I have work in 30 minutes. Nathan nodded. Of course. Thank you for not kicking me out of your meeting. Thank you for staying. Alina hesitated, her cursor hovering over the end call button. Good luck with your group. I hope it helps. It did today, Nathan said quietly. She smiled and ended the call, feeling strangely lighter than she had in months. The next day, Alina sat through her actual interview with Everett Literary Group. The HR representative was professional but distant, asking standard questions about her experience and skills. Nothing like her conversation with Nathan. When she got home, she found an email from an address she didn't recognize. The subject line simply read, Yesterday, heart-pounding. She opened it. Alina, I know we weren't supposed to meet, but if you're open to it, I'd like to talk again. No interviews. Just you. Nathan Alina stared at the screen, wondering how he'd found her email. But then she had entered it in the meeting link. She should have felt uncomfortable, maybe even alarmed. Instead, she felt a flutter of something else. Her finger hovered over the reply button. Then she began to type. One conversation became 2, then 5, then 10. They established a routine, video calls in the evening when Alina finished work. Sometimes they talked for hours about books they loved, dreams they had, fears they carried. Nathan never shared many details about his work, only that it kept him busy and often isolated. Why don't you turn on your camera today? Alina asked during their 8th call, noticing he was using only audio. Bad hair day, he said, but something in his voice sounded off. You don't strike me as someone who cares about that sort of thing. A pause. You're right. Actually, I'm traveling. Hotel room lighting is terrible. Alina wondered why he seemed reluctant to show where he was, but she didn't push. Through their conversations, she found herself opening up in ways she never had before. She told him about her parents' divorce when she was 12, how books had become her escape, about the writing she did privately but was too afraid to show anyone, about her fear that she'd never find her place in the world. I've never told anyone that, she admitted one night after sharing a particularly personal story. Why me? Nathan asked. Alina thought about it. Maybe because you listen without judgment, or maybe because we met by accident, so there were no expectations. 2 months into their strange friendship, something changed. Nathan seemed more animated, more present than he had been before. "I have news," he told her during one call. "I'm coming out of hiding in a way." "Hiding? Is that what you've been doing?" "In a manner of speaking, my company is launching a new initiative next month and I need to be more visible." "That's great," Alina said, though she still knew frustratingly little about his work. "Will it change our talks?" "Nothing could change this," Nathan said softly. "You've become important to me, Alina." The words hung between them, heavy with meaning neither was ready to fully acknowledge. The rejection from Everett Literary had stung, but Alina had almost expected it. What she hadn't expected was the email that arrived a week later from a company called Hale Publishing. "They want to interview me," she told Nathan that night, excitement bubbling in her voice. "It's for an editorial assistant position, and get this, they said someone recommended me specifically." "That's wonderful," Nathan said, his voice warm. "Did they say who recommended you?" "No, just that my unique perspective caught their attention. I don't even remember applying there, but I must have." "When's the interview?" "Next Tuesday. In person." Alina bit her lip. "I'm terrified." "This is a major publishing house, Nathan. This could be my chance and you'll be amazing," he said. "Just be yourself. That's more than enough," she smiled. "Thank you for everything these past months talking to you. It's helped me more than you know." "It's been mutual, Alina. More than you realize." The Hale Publishing headquarters took up 3 floors of a sleek downtown building. Alina arrived early, smoothing down her blazer as she checked in with reception. "Alina Brooks for the editorial assistant interview," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. The receptionist smiled. "Yes, we've been expecting you. Take the elevator to the 14th floor." The office was beautiful, open concept with floor-to-ceiling windows, walls lined with bookshelves and comfortable reading nooks scattered throughout. A friendly HR representative named Melissa greeted her and led her on a tour. Hale Publishing was founded 15 years ago, Melissa explained as they walked. "We started small, but grew quickly under the leadership of the Hale brothers. After Thomas Hale's passing 2 years ago, his twin brother Nathan took full control." Alina's steps faltered. "Nathan Hale?" "Yes, though he's been quite private since the tragedy. He's only recently begun taking a more public role again." Melissa gestured to a wall where photographs of the company's history were displayed. "That's him there." Alina's eyes followed her gesture, and the world seemed to tilt beneath her feet. There, in a professional photograph, stood the man she'd been talking to for months, the same gentle eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, the same soft smile. Nathan. Her Nathan. Nathan Hale, CEO of Hale Publishing, the man who had never told her who he really was. "Are you all right?" Melissa asked, noticing Alina's sudden paleness. "I just need a moment," Alina whispered, her eyes fixed on the photograph. Everything clicked into place. The vague answers about his work, the reluctance to show his surroundings, the mysterious recommendation. It had all been a lie, or at least not the whole truth. Without a word, Alina turned and walked toward the elevator, tears beginning to blur her vision. "Miss Brooks, the interview?" Melissa called after her. But Alina couldn't speak, couldn't stay. She stepped into the elevator and pressed the lobby button, her hands shaking. As the doors closed, her phone chimed with a message notification. Through her tears, she read, "You were never a mistake. You were the first thing that felt like life again." The elevator descended, taking her away from the job she'd wanted, and the man she'd begun to trust, perhaps even love, not knowing. They were connected all along. Rain poured down as Alina burst through the front doors of the Hale Publishing building. She had no umbrella, but the cold drops hitting her face mixed with her tears, making it impossible to tell which was which. "Miss Brooks," Melissa called from behind her, having chased her down to the lobby. "Please wait." Alina kept walking, her heels clicking rapidly on the wet sidewalk. "Your interview? There must be some misunderstanding." But Alina couldn't bear to turn around. The betrayal cut too deep. For months, she had opened her heart to Nathan, believing he was just an ordinary man running a grief support group. Not once had he mentioned he was Nathan Hale, CEO of one of the largest publishing companies in the city. The same company now, offering her an interview that wasn't real, just like their friendship. Her phone kept buzzing in her pocket. 3 text messages, all from Nathan. "Please come back, let me explain." It wasn't how it looked. She turned her phone off and continued walking, not caring that her only professional outfit was getting soaked, that her makeup was running down her face, that people were staring as she passed. Reaching the subway station, Alina finally stopped to catch her breath. The reality of what she'd just done hit her. She'd walked out on a job interview, a real job in publishing, the thing she'd been dreaming of for years, but it hadn't been real, had it? The whole thing was orchestrated by Nathan. A pity job for the sad, struggling girl who'd crashed his grief support meeting. The subway ride home was a blur. When she finally reached her apartment, she was grateful to find it empty. Trisha was at work, which meant Alina could fall apart in private. She peeled off her wet clothes and stepped into a hot shower, letting the water wash away her tears. As the steam surrounded her, questions flooded her mind. Why had Nathan kept up the charade for so long? Had he been laughing at her all along? And why bring her into his company now? After her shower, Alina wrapped herself in her oldest, most comfortable sweater and curled up on the couch. She couldn't stop herself from turning her phone back on. 12 missed calls, 8 text messages, 3 voicemails. The first voicemail played, Nathan's voice filling her small living room. "Alina, please, I know how this looks. I never meant to deceive you. When you joined that call by accident, I was just so surprised to see someone new, someone who didn't know who I was or what I'd been through. Please call me back." "Let me explain." The second voicemail was shorter. "I understand you're angry. You have every right to be, but the job offer is real. Your talent is real. I recommended you because you deserve it, not because of us." The third voicemail broke. Her heart. The support group wasn't a lie. After Thomas died, I couldn't be Nathan Hale anymore. I was just Nathan, a man trying to help others through grief while drowning in it himself. You were the first person who made me feel like myself again. Please, Alina, one conversation. That's all I'm asking for. Alina wiped fresh tears from her cheeks. The pain in his voice sounded genuine. But could she trust anything about him now? Her phone buzzed with a new message. "I'm outside your building. Just one chance to explain. Please." Alina's heart jumped to her throat. She ran to the window and looked down. There, standing in the rain without an umbrella, was Nathan. Even from 4 floors up, she could see he was soaked through. Against her better judgment, she pressed the buzzer to let him in. 5 minutes later, a knock sounded at her door. Alina took a deep breath and opened it. Nathan stood before her, water dripping from his hair, his glasses slightly fogged. He looked nothing like the powerful CEO she'd seen in the photograph at Hale Publishing. He looked like her Nathan, vulnerable, kind, a little lost. "How did you know where I live?" she asked, not inviting him in. "Your resume had your address," he admitted. "I know that sounds creepy. I'm sorry." Alina crossed her arms. "You have a lot to be sorry for." "I know." He ran a hand through his wet hair. "Can I come in just to explain?" She stepped aside reluctantly, and Nathan entered her small apartment. He looked out of place among her second-hand furniture and thrift store decorations. "Nice place," he said, awkwardly. "It's not a publishing empire, but it's home," Alina replied coldly. Nathan winced. "I deserved that. You deserve a lot worse." Alina gestured to the couch. "Sit. Explain." Nathan sat down, his expensive clothes dampening her worn cushions. "I don't know where to start. How about with who you really are? The whole truth this time?" He nodded. "My name is Nathan Hale. I co-founded Hale Publishing with my twin brother Thomas 15 years ago. We built it from nothing into what it is today." "And the support group?" Nathan's eyes clouded with pain. 2 years ago, Thomas died in a boating accident. We were inseparable our whole lives. When I lost him, I lost myself too. I couldn't function as CEO anymore. I retreated from public life, let others run the day-to-day operations. "And you started an online grief support group," Alina added. "Yes, using just my first name. It was the only place I could be honest about my pain without the business world, watching and judging." He looked at her. "When you joined that call by accident, I should have told you right away who I was. But you were so real. So refreshingly unaware of my wealth, my status, my history, you talk to me like a normal person. I thought you were a normal person, Alina snapped. I wanted to be, Nathan said quietly. With you, I was. Alina paced across her small living room. So for 2 months you let me ramble on about my struggles to find a job in publishing, a job you could have given me at any time. And you said nothing? It wasn't that simple. At first I didn't know you well enough to offer you a position. And then as we got closer, I worried offering you a job would change everything between us. He paused. I was selfish. I wanted to keep what we had. What exactly did we have, Nathan? A friendship built on lies. Not lies, he insisted. Omissions. Everything I told you about myself was true, about my grief, my loneliness, the things I care about. I just didn't tell you my last name or my job title. Those are pretty big omissions. I know. Nathan leaned forward. But Alina, think about the things we shared, the conversations we had. That was all real. More real than anything in my life these past 2 years. Alina sat down in the armchair across from him, keeping distance between them. Why did you offer me the job now? Because you deserve it. I read the writing samples you sent me. Your work. At that literary magazine, you have real talent. And yes, the timing is suspicious, I know that. But I'm trying to step back into my role at the company. Part of that is building a team of people I believe in. He looked at her intently. And I believe in you, Alina. How convenient, she muttered. Is it? Nathan challenged. You walked out today. I knew you might when you saw who I really was. I knew I might lose both you and a promising employee. That doesn't seem very convenient to me. Alina was silent. For a moment. In one of your voicemails, you mentioned us. What did you mean by that? Nathan's expression softened. I think you know. The air between them felt charged. Alina looked away, fighting the conflicting emotions inside her. I need time to think, she finally said. This is all too much. Nathan nodded and stood up. I understand. He reached into his pocket and placed a business card on her coffee table. My personal number. When you're ready to talk. If you're ready, I'll be waiting. He walked to the door, then turned back. For what it's worth, meeting. You was the best accident of my life. After he left, Alina sat in silence, staring at his card on her table. The rain continued to fall outside, mirroring the storm in her heart. The next morning, Tricia found Alina still on the couch, wrapped in a blanket and staring at her laptop. Whoa, you look like you had a rough night, Tricia said, setting her purse down. How did the interview go? I didn't go through with it, Alina mumbled. What? Why not? Alina sighed. It's complicated. Remember that guy I told you about? The one I've been talking to online for months? The mysterious Nathan. What about him? Turns out he's Nathan Hale, CEO of Hale Publishing. Tricia's jaw dropped. The Hale Publishing, the one you were interviewing. With? Alina nodded miserably. Wait, I'm confused, Tricia said, sitting down next to her. Isn't this a good thing? You've been talking to the big boss for months. He lied to me, Tricia. He let me believe he was just some ordinary guy, all while I was pouring my heart out to him. Did he actually lie, or did he just not tell you everything? Alina shot her friend an annoyed look. Whose side are you on? Yours, obviously. But this guy is crazy about you. He came here in the rain yesterday. How do you know that? Mrs. Jenkins from downstairs texted me. Said some handsome man in expensive clothes was standing in the rain looking up at our window. I figured it was a rom-com moment happening for one of us. Tricia nudged her. Turns out it was for you. Alina groaned. It's not romantic. It's complicated. Love. Usually is. Tricia gestured to the laptop. What are you doing anyway? Research on Nathan Hale and his brother. The screen showed news articles about Thomas Hale's tragic boating accident 2 years earlier. The brothers had been celebrating the company's biggest acquisition when a sudden storm hit. Thomas was thrown overboard. Despite Nathan's efforts to save him, Thomas had drowned. Nathan was hospitalized for hypothermia and shock after trying to rescue his brother, Alina read aloud. After his release, he withdrew from public life, leading to rumors about the company's future. That's awful, Tricia said softly. There's more, Alina continued scrolling. Before the accident, Nathan Hale was known for his innovative approach to publishing and his charismatic leadership. Industry insiders say he's not been the same since the tragedy, delegating most public appearances to his executive team. Tricia looked at her. So he really did retreat from the world just like he told you? Yes, Alina admitted. That part was true. She clicked on another article showing photos of the Hale brothers in happier times. The resemblance between them was striking, both with the same kind eyes, though Thomas had a more confident smile. You said he ran a grief support group, right? Tricia asked. Alina nodded. Under just his first name. He said it was the only place he could be honest about his pain. And then you crashed it thinking it was a job interview. Tricia laughed softly. That's actually kind of perfect. How is any of this perfect? Because for the first time in 2 years, this man found someone who saw him for who he is, not for what he lost. Tricia took Alina's hand. Do you have any idea how rare that is? Alina hadn't thought about it that way. With her, Nathan wasn't the grieving CEO or the broken twin. He was just Nathan, a man with thoughts and feelings and dreams, just as she was just Alina to him, not a struggling wannabe editor or a grocery store cashier. I still don't know if I can trust him, she said quietly. Fair enough, but ask yourself this. In all those conversations, did he ever try to use you, manipulate you, take advantage of your situation? No, Alina admitted. He mostly just listened, and now he's offered you a job based on your talents. Sounds like a pretty decent guy to me. Alina closed her laptop. I need to think. Think all you want, but don't overthink. Some people go their whole lives without finding a connection like you. 3 days passed. Alina returned to her shifts at the grocery store, scanning items while her mind replayed every conversation she'd had with Nathan. She'd reread all their text messages, looking for clues she might have missed, signs that should have told her who he really was. On the 4th day, she was restocking a display when her manager called her to the front. Someone here to see you, Brooks. Alina's heart raced, thinking it might be Nathan. But instead, she found Melissa from Hale Publishing waiting by the registers. Ms. Brooks, Melissa said with a professional smile. I hope you don't mind me tracking. You down here. You left rather suddenly the other day. I'm sorry about that, Alina said, embarrassed. It was unprofessional. Actually, I'm not here about the interview. Melissa handed her a thick envelope. Mr. Hale asked me to deliver this to you personally. Alina took the envelope hesitantly. What is it? I wasn't told the contents, just that it was important you receive it. Melissa handed her a business card. The offer for the editorial assistant position remains open, should you wish to reconsider. We were very impressed with your writing samples. After Melissa left, Alina took her break early and opened the envelope in the staff room. Inside was a manuscript about 200 pages, with a simple title page, The Things We Don't Say By. Nathan Hale. A note was paperclipped to the front. Alina, you once told me about the writing you do privately, but are afraid to share. This is mine, the story of losing Thomas, the story of finding you. This isn't for publication, it's just for you. The first person I've trusted with my words in a very long time. Whatever you decide about the job, about us, I wanted you to have this. You showed me how to be honest again. It seems only fair that I return the favor, in the most honest way I know how. Nathan. Alina's hands trembled as she turned to the first page. The opening lines caught her breath. The worst part about being a twin isn't losing your other half. It's continuing to live as an incomplete person, watching the world expect you to be whole. She couldn't read it here, not in the dingy break room with its fluorescent lighting and coffee-stained tables. This deserved her full attention. When her shift ended, Alina took the manuscript home and began to read. Nathan's writing was raw, vulnerable, beautiful in its honesty. He described the accident in harrowing detail. The storm, the desperate attempt to save his brother, the moment he knew Thomas was gone. He wrote about the emptiness that followed, the way he went through the motions of living while feeling dead inside. About starting the grief support group to try to make sense of his loss. And then, in the final chapters, he wrote about her. About the day a nervous young woman joined his call by mistake, her notes visible on her desk, her hopes written plainly on her face. She had no idea who I was. And in that moment, I realized how desperately I'd needed that, to be seen as just a person, not as half of what was once whole, not as the surviving twin, the grieving brother, the reclusive CEO, just Nathan. And so I did something unforgivable. I let her keep believing it. Alina read through the night, tears flowing freely. By the final pages. In trying to protect this connection, I may have destroyed it. In hiding parts of myself, I've compromised the whole. But for 2 months, this accidental friendship taught me something I'd forgotten, that life continues after loss, that new beginnings are possible, even when they arrive through unexpected doors. All I can hope now is that she'll find a way to forgive what I couldn't bring myself to say, that she'll understand why I held back the truth, not to deceive her, but to preserve the one real thing in my half-real life. As dawn broke outside her window, Alina closed the manuscript and reached for her phone. She stared at Nathan's business card for a long moment, then dialed his number. It rang only once before he answered. "Alina, I read it," she said softly. "All of it. And I think we need to talk. In person. No screens between us this time." "Name the place and time," Nathan said, hope evident in his voice. Alina took a deep breath. "The coffee shop across from Hale Publishing, 1 hour." As she hung up, Alina wasn't sure what would happen next. But for the first time since discovering the truth, she was ready to find out. The coffee shop was busier than Alina had expected for an early morning. She found a table by the window with a clear view of the Hale Publishing building across the street. Its glass facade gleamed in the morning sun, imposing and impressive, just like its owner. She ordered a simple black coffee, too nervous to eat anything. Her copy of Nathan's manuscript sat on the table beside her, dog-eared from her all-night reading session. The bell above the door chimed, and Alina looked up to see Nathan entering. He was dressed more casually than she'd expected. Jeans, a simple button-down shirt, and a light jacket. No power suit, no designer accessories. He looked around until his eyes found hers, a mixture of hope and uncertainty on his face. She raised her hand slightly, and he made his way to her table. "You came," he said, as if he hadn't quite believed she would. "I said I would." Alina gestured to the chair across from her. "Sit down." Nathan sat, glancing at the manuscript on the table. "You read it all, every word." Alina took a sip of her coffee. "I didn't know you were a writer." "I'm not really, not professionally." He paused as a waitress came by. He ordered a coffee, then continued. "After Thomas died, my therapist suggested I write down my feelings. It started as journal entries, but eventually became that." "It's good," Alina said honestly. "Really good. Thank you." Nathan's eyes met hers. "I've never shown it to anyone else." The weight of that trust hung between them. Alina tapped her fingers against her mug, searching for the right words. "Why did you want to meet here?" Nathan asked, breaking the silence. Of all places, Alina looked out the window at the Hale Publishing building. "Because I needed to see it, to see where you work, to make it real." "And is it real now?" "Getting there." She turned back to him. "I have questions." "I'll answer anything. No more hiding." Alina took a deep breath. "The job offer. Was it real, or was it just a way to see me in person?" "It was real," Nathan said without hesitation. "Your writing samples are excellent. Your experience at the magazine show's initiative. You'd have gotten an interview regardless of our connection. But you did push for it?" Nathan nodded. "I mentioned your name to HR. I said I'd come across your work and thought you should be considered, but I wasn't. Part of the initial screening process, they chose you on merit. And what happens if I take it? Will I actually be working for you?" "No. You'd be in the editorial department reporting to Diane Foster, our senior editor. I rarely get involved at that level." He paused. "I would see you around the office, of course, but I wouldn't be your direct superior." Alina considered this. "And if things between us, if there is a between us, wouldn't that be complicated?" "Potentially," Nathan admitted, "but not unprecedented. The company has policies for these situations." The waitress returned with Nathan's coffee. They sat in silence for a moment, each gathering their thoughts. "I read about your brother," Alina finally said. About the accident. Pain flashed across Nathan's face. The official version, I'm sure. Tell me the real one. Nathan's hands tightened around his mug. We were celebrating. Hale Publishing had just acquired a smaller press that specialized in poetry, Thomas's passion project. He'd worked on that deal for months. His voice grew quieter. We took my boat out. Thomas loved being on the water. Alina waited as Nathan composed himself. The weather report said clear skies, but a storm came out of nowhere. The waves were massive. Thomas was standing near the edge when the boat lurched. He went overboard. Nathan swallowed hard. I dove in after him. I could see him in the water reaching for me. Our fingertips touched just for a second, but then a wave came between us. Alina reached across the table and placed her hand over his. The gesture surprised them both. The Coast Guard found me clinging to a life preserver 2 hours later, Nathan continued. They never found Thomas, just his watch washed up on shore a week later. I'm so sorry, Alina whispered. After that, I couldn't function, couldn't lead the company, couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. We were identical twins. Every time I saw my reflection, I saw him. Nathan looked at her intently. That's why I started the online support group. No cameras necessary, just voices, words, sharing pain. Until I stumbled in, Alina said softly. Until you stumbled in, Nathan agreed, a small smile touching his lips. Looking for a job interview of all things. Quite the mix-up. Best mistake of my life. Alina withdrew her hand, suddenly self-conscious. You talk in your manuscript about how refreshing it was that I didn't know who you were. That I had no expectations. It was like breathing fresh air after being underwater. But that's gone now, Alina pointed out. I know exactly who you are. Nathan Hale, CEO, millionaire publisher. Multi-millionaire, actually, Nathan corrected, with a self-deprecating smile. Does that change how you see me? Alina considered the question. I don't know yet. It's a lot to process. What if I were just Nathan from the grief group, the man you talked to for 2 months? Would you be sitting here with me now? Probably, Alina admitted. But that's not who you are, is it? Not entirely. It's part of who I am, the part I showed. You was real, Alina. She studied his face, trying to reconcile the Nathan she knew with the powerful businessman the world saw. I believe you, but I'm still trying to understand why you kept the truth from me for so long. Nathan sighed. At first, it was just easier not to correct your assumption. Then, as we kept talking, I worried about how you'd react. Would you treat me differently? Would you think I was just toying with you, that I was some bored rich guy amusing himself with your struggles? Were you? Alina challenged. No. His answer was immediate, emphatic. Never. Our conversations became the highlight of my days. When you talked about your passion for books, your dreams of working in publishing, I saw something in you that reminded me of why I started this company in the first place, and yet you didn't offer to help. Would you have wanted my help if you'd known who I was? Charity from the CEO you'd accidentally met online? Alina frowned. No. I would have been embarrassed. Exactly. And once I realized I was developing feelings for you, it became even more complicated. The word feelings hung in the air between them. What kind of feelings? Alina asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Nathan reached for her hand again. The kind that terrified me. That still terrify me. Their eyes locked. For a moment it was just like their video calls. That same connection, that same understanding. I need time, Alina finally said, gently pulling her hand away. This is all so much to take in. I understand. Nathan nodded. What about the job? Alina looked out at the Hale Publishing building again. I need to think about that too. If I take it, I want to know it's because I earned it. You did earn it, but I respect your caution. Nathan stood up. Take all the time you need. Both offers stand. The job and my friendship. Whatever form that takes. As he turned to leave, Alina called after him. Nathan, he looked back. Thank you for trusting me with your story, she said, touching the manuscript. It can't have been easy to write. It wasn't, he admitted, but sharing it with you was the easiest decision I've made in years. After he left, Alina remained at the table, staring at the manuscript. Inside those pages was the raw truth of a man she'd come to care for deeply, a man who'd hidden parts of himself but had now laid everything bare. That evening, Alina sat on her couch with Trisha, explaining everything that had happened. "So let me get this straight," Trisha said, munching on popcorn. "This guy wrote you an entire book about his life, and you're still not sure if you should give him a chance?" "It's not that simple," Alina argued. "What about the job? If I take it, people will talk. They'll think I slept my way into the company. Who cares what people think? This is your dream job." "But is it? Or is it just Nathan pulling strings?" Trisha rolled her eyes. "Girl, do you hear yourself? You've been applying to publishing houses for years. Now one of the biggest in the city wants you, and instead of celebrating, you're looking for problems." "I just want to make sure I'm making decisions for the right reasons," Alina said defensively. "What does your gut tell you? About Nathan, about the job, all of it?" Alina sighed. "My gut is confused. My heart is even more confused." "Do you have feelings for him? The real him, now that you know everything?" "I think I do," Alina admitted quietly. "But what if it doesn't work out? What if I take the job, we try dating, it falls apart, and then I'm stuck working at his company?" "What if it does work out?" Trisha countered. "What if this accidental meeting was the universe giving you exactly what you needed?" "Now, you sound like Nathan," Alina said with a small smile. "Maybe you were supposed to end up here." "Smart man." Trisha tossed a piece of popcorn at her. "Look, take the weekend to think about it, but don't overthink it. Sometimes good things just happen. Helena, let yourself accept that." The weekend passed in a blur of indecision. Alina made pro and con lists, talked herself into and out of both the job and a potential relationship with Nathan a dozen times. On Monday morning, she stood in front of her closet, staring at her limited professional wardrobe. Before she could talk herself out of it, she pulled out her blue blazer and skirt. An hour later, she was standing in the lobby of Hale Publishing, her heart racing. "I'm here to see Melissa in HR," she told the receptionist, "about the editorial assistant position." "Of course, Ms. Brooks, we've been expecting you." As she was led to the elevator, Alina caught a glimpse of Nathan across the lobby, talking with a group of executives. He looked different here, more commanding, more confident. But when he glanced up and saw her, the smile that spread across his face was all the Nathan she knew. He excused himself from his group and walked over. "You came back," he said softly. "For the job interview," Alina clarified, though her racing heart suggested other reasons. "Of course." Nathan maintained a professional distance. "Good luck, though you won't need it." "Thank you," she said, stepping into the elevator. As the doors began to close, she added, "Maybe I was supposed to end up here after all." The interview went better than Alina could have hoped. Melissa was warm and professional, and Diane Foster, the senior editor, seemed genuinely impressed with her knowledge and ideas. "Your perspective on our young adult line is particularly interesting," Diane said, making notes. "We've been looking to expand in that direction." By the end of the 3-hour process, Alina was offered the position, with a salary higher than she'd dared to hope for. "We'd like you to start next Monday if that works for you," Melissa said, extending the formal offer letter. "It does," Alina replied, feeling a mixture of excitement and lingering uncertainty. "Thank you for this opportunity." As she left the HR department, she found herself taking a detour through the editorial floor. Rows of desks filled with busy people, walls lined with bookshelves, the quiet hum of literary work in progress. This was the world she'd dreamed of joining for so long. A voice behind her broke into her thoughts. "What do you think?" She turned to find Nathan standing there, hands in his pockets, watching her reaction to the space. "It's everything I imagined," she admitted. "Did they offer you the position?" Alina nodded. "I start next week. Congratulations." His smile was genuine. "You earned it." An awkward silence fell between them. "I should go," Alina finally said. "I have to give notice at the grocery store." "Of course." Nathan hesitated, then added, "About the other matter, one thing at a time," Alina interrupted gently. "Let me get used to this new job first." "Fair enough." He stepped back. "I'll see you around the office, Ms. Brooks." I guess you will, Mr. Hale. Alina's first week at Hale Publishing was a whirlwind of training, introductions, and learning the systems. Her desk was small but had a window view, and she quickly discovered that Diane was a demanding but fair boss who recognized good work. True to his word, Nathan kept his distance. She spotted him occasionally in meetings or walking through the building, but he made no special effort to seek her out or give her special treatment. In a way, she was grateful for the space to find her footing in this new role. By Friday, Alina was exhausted but exhilarated. She'd already been assigned her first manuscript to review, a young adult novel that Diane thought showed promise. As she packed up to leave, a delivery person arrived at her desk with a small package. "Alina Brooks," they asked. "That's me." The package contained a beautiful leather-bound journal with her initials embossed on the cover. A small note was tucked inside, "For your own stories when you're ready to share them." Alina ran her fingers over the soft leather, a smile playing at her lips. That night, as she walked to the subway, her phone buzzed with a text message from Nathan. "Did you get my gift?" She typed back, "It's beautiful." "Thank you too much," he replied. "No, just right." There was a pause before his next message appeared. "Have dinner with me tomorrow?" Away from the office, just Nathan and Alina. No titles, no history, just us. Alina stopped walking, her heart pounding. After a long moment, she typed, "Yes." The restaurant Nathan chose was not what Alina expected. Instead of some exclusive fine dining establishment, he took her to a small Italian place in a quiet neighborhood, family-owned and cozy. "I thought you'd be more comfortable here," he explained as they were seated in a corner booth. "Less pressure." "You were right," Alina said, looking around at the simple decor and friendly atmosphere. "How did you find this place?" "Thomas and I used to come here when we were starting the company. We couldn't afford anything fancier." His smile was tinged with nostalgia. "The owner's son goes to all the home games with me now. It's tradition." "Home games?" "Baseball. I'm a huge fan." Nathan looked slightly embarrassed. "Another thing I never mentioned in our calls." "What else should I know about the real Nathan Hale?" Alina asked, opening her menu. "I'm allergic to strawberries. I can't swim anymore, not since the accident. I play the piano badly but enthusiastically, and I haven't been on a real date in over 2 years. His eyes met hers. "Until tonight." "Is that what this is? A date?" "I hope so." "Unless you're here for a performance review already," Alina laughed. "No, I think this qualifies as a date." They ordered wine and pasta, and as the evening progressed, the awkwardness between them melted away. They fell back into the easy conversation they'd had during their video calls, but now with the added dimension of being able to see each other's expressions, gestures, the way Nathan's eyes crinkled when he really smiled. "How's the job so far?" he asked as they shared a tiramisu. "Challenging, exciting, exactly what I wanted." Alina took a bite of the dessert. "Diane is intimidating but brilliant. She's one of our best. Thomas hired her. Everyone I've met speaks highly of your brother." Nathan nodded. "He was the people person. I was more the numbers guy. We balanced each other. And now I'm trying to be both. Not very successfully, according to the board." He shrugged. "I'm working on it." "Is that why you're coming back into the public eye? Taking a more active role?" "Partly." Nathan reached across the table for her hand. "But mostly because of you." "Me?" Alina's eyes widened. "Our conversations reminded me why I love books, why Thomas and I started the company. You helped me remember the person I used to be, the person I want to be again." Alina felt a lump form in her throat. "That's a lot of responsibility to put on someone." "It's not responsibility," Nathan clarified. "It's gratitude." After dinner, they walked along the quiet streets, hands occasionally brushing against each other. When Nathan finally took her hand in his, it felt both thrilling and somehow inevitable. "I want to show you something," he said, leading her down a side street. They stopped in front of a small bookstore with Hale and Hart books written in faded letters above the door. "This was our first store," Nathan explained. "Before we became publishers, Thomas and I ran this little bookshop. We saved for years to open it." Alina peered through the window at the cozy interior, shelves packed with books of all kinds. "It's still open?" 3 days a week." We kept it as a reminder of where we started. Nathan's voice was soft with memory. I haven't been here since before the accident. Alina squeezed his hand. Thank you for sharing this with me. They stood there in silence, looking at the little store that had been the seed of a publishing empire. In that moment, Alina felt the last of her reservations melting away. The man beside her wasn't just Nathan Hale, CEO. He was Nathan, who had dreams and pain and hope just like her. As they walked back toward the subway station, Nathan stopped under a streetlight. What happens on Monday? He asked. When we're back at the office? We be professional, Alina said. I do my job, you do yours. And after hours, she looked up at him, at the face that had become so dear to her. After hours, we figure this out. Whatever this is. I'd like that, Nathan said softly. He leaned down, and Alina's breath caught as his lips brushed against hers, a gentle, questioning kiss that she answered by stepping closer, deepening the connection between them. When they finally broke apart, Nathan rested his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that since the moment you walked into my meeting by mistake. Worth the wait? Alina asked, a smile in her voice. Definitely, he murmured, kissing her again. As they stood there beneath the streetlight, Alina knew there would be challenges ahead. Office gossip, professional boundaries, the lingering shadow of how they met. But in this moment, all that mattered was that an accidental connection had led to something real, something true. And as Nathan walked her to the subway, their hands intertwined, she couldn't help thinking that sometimes the best things in life came from the most unexpected beginnings. What neither of them noticed was the figure watching from across the street, camera in hand, capturing the moment when the reclusive CEO of Hale Publishing kissed an unknown woman under the streetlight. By Monday morning, those photos would be everywhere. Monday morning arrived with an unexpected storm. Rain lashed against Alina's bedroom window as her alarm went off. She hit snooze, smiling as she remembered her date with Nathan 2 nights before. The way he'd kissed her under the streetlight, the way his hand had felt in hers, it all seemed like a dream. Her phone buzzed with a text from Trisha. Turn on the TV. Channel 8. Now. Confused, Alina grabbed the remote and switched on the small television in her bedroom. The morning news was on, and there on the screen was a photo of her and Nathan, locked in an embrace beneath the streetlight. Reclusive CEO Nathan Hale spotted with an unknown woman Saturday night, the anchor was saying. Sources confirm. The woman is a new employee at Hale Publishing, raising questions about workplace relationships at the company. Alina's stomach dropped. She fumbled for her phone, her hands shaking. Are you seeing this? She texted Nathan. His reply came seconds later. Just did. Don't panic. I'm handling it. Easier said than done. Alina got ready for work in a daze, her mind racing. How had someone found them? Who had taken that photo? And what would the people at work think? Her phone rang as she was putting on her shoes. Nathan's name flashed on the screen. Hey, she answered, her voice small. Are you okay? Nathan asked, concern evident in his tone. Not really. Everyone's going to think I slept my way into the company. No one who matters will think that, Nathan assured her. I've already spoken to HR and Diane. They know the truth, that we met before you applied and that I wasn't involved in your hiring process. But everyone else doesn't matter, Alina. We know the truth. She took a deep breath. I don't know if I can face them all today. You can, you're stronger than you think, Nathan paused. But if you want to work from home today, that's an option too. Alina considered it. Hiding felt tempting, but also like admitting guilt. No. I need to face this head on. That's my girl, Nathan said softly. I'll see you at the office. We'll get through this together. As Alina hung up, a new text came in from Trisha. You've been holding out on me. That kiss looked hot. Despite everything, Alina laughed. Leave it to Trisha to focus on the important details. The walk from the subway to Hale Publishing had never felt so long. Alina kept her head high, though she felt eyes following her from the moment she entered the lobby. The usual friendly smile from the receptionist was replaced with curious glances. The elevator ride was awkward silence as other employees stared, then quickly looked away when she caught them. When she reached the editorial floor, conversation stopped as she walked to her desk. Then the whispers started. "Morning," said Mark, the editorial assistant at the desk beside hers. His grin was knowing. "Busy weekend?" Alina ignored him, turning on her computer and trying to focus on work. But the whispers continued, growing louder as the morning progressed. Probably why she got hired so quickly. Heard she doesn't even have publishing experience, slept her way to the top. By lunchtime, Alina was ready to quit. She retreated to the bathroom, locking herself in a stall as tears threatened to fall. Her phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. "Lunch in my office? I had it delivered." The thought of walking through the building to Nathan's office, confirming everyone's suspicions, made her cringe. But hiding in the bathroom wasn't an option either. "On my way," she texted back. Nathan's office was on the top floor, a corner suite with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the city skyline. Alina had never been there before. His assistant, an older woman named Eleanor, gave her a kind smile as she approached. "Go right in, dear, he's expecting you." Nathan was waiting by a small conference table set with sandwiches and drinks. His face brightened when she entered, but quickly fell as he saw her expression. "That bad?" he asked, closing the door behind her. "Worse," Alina admitted. "Everyone's talking about it. About us." Nathan led her to the table. "I'm sorry, I should have been more careful. I wasn't thinking. Neither was I." Alina sat down heavily. "I just wanted one normal date. One night without complications." "I know." Nathan sat beside her, not touching her, but close enough that she could feel his warmth. "For what it's worth, the board has already been briefed. They don't care about my personal life as long as company. Policies are followed, and they are. You don't report to me. The board might not care, but everyone else does." Alina pushed her sandwich away, her appetite gone. "I worked so hard to get here, Nathan. I wanted to be taken seriously." "You will be," he insisted. "Once they see your work, your talent. Will they even give me that chance now? Or will I always be the boss's girlfriend?" Nathan winced at the term. Is that what we are, girlfriend and boyfriend? Despite everything, Alina couldn't help a small smile. "Sounds pretty high school when you put it like that." "What would you prefer, partner, significant other? How about we figure that out after we deal with this mess?" Nathan reached for her hand, and this time she let him take it. "I have an idea about that, but you might not like it. Try me. A company-wide email explaining how we met. The truth, that you stumbled into my grief support group, that we formed a connection before you ever applied to Hale Publishing, that I recused myself from the hiring process." Alina pulled her hand away. "You want to tell everyone about the grief group? About Thomas?" "It's time," Nathan said quietly. "I've been hiding long enough. From the company, from myself. Maybe this is the push I needed. But that's so personal. It is, but I'm tired of secrets, Alina. They've cost me too much already." He looked at her intently. "If I'm going to do this, though, I need to know you're in it with me, that you think what we have is worth fighting for." Alina sat back, stunned by the magnitude of what he was suggesting. "You'd put yourself out there like that? For me?" "For us," Nathan corrected. "And for me, too. It's time I stopped living in the shadows." The conviction in his voice, the openness in his eyes, this was the Nathan she'd come to care for during their long conversations. Strong, vulnerable, honest. "Okay," she said finally. "Let's do it, together." Nathan's smile was worth every whispered comment she'd endured that morning. The email went out that afternoon. Alina read it from her desk, her heart in her throat as Nathan's words appeared on her screen. "To all Hale Publishing employees by now, many of you have seen the photographs of me with one of our new employees, Alina Brooks. Rather than allow rumors to circulate, I want to share the truth with all of you. 2 years ago, after the tragic death of my brother Thomas, I retreated from public life. As part of my healing process, I began hosting an online support group for people dealing with grief, using only my first name. 3 months ago, Alina accidentally joined one of these sessions, believing it to be a job interview with another publishing house. This honest mistake led to a friendship that developed over time, with neither of us aware of our professional connection. When Alina applied to Hale Publishing, I recognized her name, but removed myself entirely from the hiring process. She was selected based solely on her qualifications and experience by our editorial team. I share this personal story not to ask for privacy. As public figures, that ship has sailed, but to ask for respect. Respect for a relationship that began authentically and continues to grow. Respect for a talented new employee who deserves to be judged on her work, not on who she is dating. Thomas believed that Hale Publishing should be more than a company. He wanted it to be a family. In his memory, I ask that we extend that same spirit of acceptance to Alina and to each other. Nathan Hale, CEO, Hale Publishing. Tears blurred Alina's vision as she finished reading. The honesty, the vulnerability in Nathan's words touched her deeply. She looked up to find Mark watching her. "So that's how it happened," he said, his earlier smirk gone. "Pretty romantic, actually." "It wasn't meant to be," Alina said softly. "It just was." "For what it's worth," Mark added, "your edits on the Patterson manuscript yesterday were spot on. Diane was impressed." "Really? Really? So maybe the gossip will die down faster than you think." By the end of the day, Alina felt a shift in the office atmosphere. There were still curious glances, but the malicious whispers had largely stopped. Several colleagues even made a point of stopping by her desk to introduce themselves properly. As she was packing up to leave, her phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. "Dinner at my place tonight? I think we've earned some privacy." Alina smiled. "I'd like that." Nathan's apartment was not what she expected. Instead of a sleek penthouse, it was a warm, comfortable space filled with books, vintage furniture, and personal touches. Photos of Thomas were everywhere. The brothers at college graduation, opening their first bookstore, celebrating the launch of Hale Publishing. "This was our place," Nathan explained as he gave her a tour. "We bought it together when the company started taking off. After he died, I couldn't bear to move." Alina squeezed his hand. "It feels like him, like both of you." Nathan led her to the kitchen where ingredients for dinner were already laid out. "I hope you like Italian. It's about the only thing I can cook well." "I love it." Alina picked up a wooden spoon. "Can I help?" They worked side by side, preparing pasta and sauce, moving around each other with an ease that belied how new their relationship was. There was something intimate about cooking together, sharing a kitchen, building something from scratch. Over dinner, Nathan raised his glass. "To accidental meetings." Alina clinked her glass against his. "To honesty." They talked about the reaction to the email, about Alina's first week on the job, about everything and nothing. It felt so natural, so right to be here with him like this. After dinner, they settled on the couch with glasses of wine. "I have something for you," Nathan said, reaching behind a cushion. He pulled out a small wrapped package. "Another gift?" The journal was already too much. "This is different." Nathan handed it to her, a nervous edge to his smile. "Open it." Alina unwrapped the package to find a memory stick. "What's this?" "Thomas and I had a tradition. Whenever something important happened in our lives, we'd record a video message for each other." Nathan's voice grew soft. "The day after you first joined my call by accident, I made one for him. Even though he's gone, it helped me process what I was feeling." Alina turned the memory stick over in her hand, stunned by the trust this represented. "Are you sure you want me to see this?" "I'm sure. It was the beginning of us, even if we didn't know it yet." Later that night, after Nathan had fallen asleep beside her, Alina sat in his home office with the memory stick plugged into his computer. With trembling fingers, she clicked on the video file. Nathan's face appeared on screen, looking more tired, more haunted than she knew him now. He seemed to gather himself before speaking. "Tommy, the strangest thing happened today." A girl joined. "My support group called by mistake. She thought it was a job interview." Nathan laughed softly. "I should have corrected her right away. But then she started talking about her hopes, her dreams with such openness. She had no idea who I was, Tommy. No expectations, just honest." He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture Alina now recognized as a sign of his nervousness. "I don't know why I'm telling you this. She's just a stranger. But for 30 minutes today, I felt something I haven't felt since you've been gone. I felt present, connected, like maybe the world isn't just a series of empty days to get through." Nathan's eyes grew misty in the video. You always said I needed to open myself up more, to let people in. I think you'd like her, Tommy. She loves books as much as we do. She sees the world with such hope even when life hasn't been kind to her. He wiped at his eyes. I know it's stupid, we only talked once and I'll probably never speak to her again. But I wanted to tell you about it. About her. Because for the first time in 2 years, I felt something close to happiness. And that feels like something worth sharing with you. The video ended, and Alina sat in the darkened office, tears streaming down her face. The raw honesty of Nathan's words, the glimpse into his heart from that very first day, it moved her beyond words. She made her way back to the bedroom, slipping quietly under the covers beside him. Nathan stirred, reaching for her even in his sleep. "You okay?" he murmured, his eyes still closed. "I'm perfect," she whispered, curling into his embrace. 6 months later, Alina stood in the beautifully renovated Hale and Hart books, surrounded by friends, colleagues, and stacks of her favorite novels. The small bookstore where Nathan and Thomas had started their journey was celebrating its grand reopening, now under her management. "A toast," Nathan called, raising his glass, "to the newest chapter of Hale and Hart books, and to the woman who inspired me to remember why we started it all in the first place." Cheers erupted around them. Diane Foster, now Alina's mentor and friend, squeezed her arm. "He's different with you, happier. The whole company feels it." Alina smiled, watching as Nathan chatted with the staff he'd hired to help her run the store. The past months hadn't been entirely smooth. There had been adjustments, boundaries to establish, whispers to ignore, but they'd weathered it all together. Her first book review had been published in Hale Publishing's literary magazine last month, under her maiden name, with no special treatment. The pride she'd felt seeing her byline had been sweeter for knowing she'd earned it honestly. As the party wound down, Nathan found her reorganizing a display of classic novels. "Can't stop working even at your own celebration," he teased, slipping his arms around her waist. "Just making it perfect." She leaned back against his chest. "I still can't believe you gave me the store." "Not gave, entrusted." Nathan kissed her temple. "Thomas would have wanted it to be someone who understands what books mean to people, someone with vision." Alina turned in his arms. "Thank you for believing in me. Always." His eyes grew serious. "I have something to ask you." "What is it?" Nathan took her hand and led her to the small reading nook in the corner of the shop, a cozy space with 2 armchairs where, according to store legend, the Hale brothers had first dreamed up their publishing company. "This spot has always been special to me," Nathan said, his voice soft. "It's where Thomas and I made our biggest decisions. It seems fitting that I make another one here." Alina's heart began to race as Nathan reached into his pocket. "The day you accidentally joined my call was the day I started living again," he said, his eyes never leaving hers. "Every day since then has been a gift I never expected." He dropped to one knee, opening a small velvet box to reveal a vintage ring with a single diamond surrounded by sapphires. "Alina Brooks, will you marry me? Will you build a life with me that's just as beautiful as the accident that brought us together?" Tears filled Alina's eyes as she nodded. "Yes," she whispered, 1,000 times yes. As Nathan slipped the ring onto her finger, she couldn't help thinking of that first day, of clicking the wrong link, of a soft voice saying, "You're early." Maybe she had been. Early to a life she hadn't known was waiting for her. Early to a love that began with a mistake but grew into something real, something true. Nathan stood and pulled her into his arms, kissing her with all the passion of a man who had found his way back from the darkness. "Maybe I was supposed to end up here," Alina murmured against his lips, echoing the words that had started them on this journey. "No, maybe about it," Nathan replied, holding her close. "Some meetings aren't accidents at all. They're fate." Outside, the little bookstore, the city continued its busy pace. Inside, surrounded by stories of love and loss and second chances, Alina and Nathan began writing the next chapter of their own, an interview that never happened, a connection that was meant to be a love story that, like all the best ones, found its way to the perfect ending, the end.